For me, 2026 is the year of the Bat. First, the trailer of Batman Knightfall, and now we have a second season of Batman Caped Crusader on the horizon. I mean, come on, at this point the Dark Knight is truly on a generational run, because DC Studios has been dealing with many iterations and incarnations of Gotham City's best crime fighter, with Matt Reeves recently kicking off the principal photography for the Batman Part 2, and James Gunn's DC Universe still developing its reboot for the Caped Vigilante. We really do have a lot to look forward to. But you know what? I am undoubtedly most excited about the second season of Timm's Batman Caped Crusader, with big names like J.J. Abrams, Matt Reeves, and Sam Register associated with the animated series, which could almost be considered as a spiritual sequel to Batman the Animated Series. It should be illegal how criminally underrated this show has been. First released on Prime of almost 2 years ago, this series did not exactly get the kind of exposure it deserved, even if it has a very noir-like animation style that actually reminds you of the OG Batman animated series from the early 90s. Literally everything, starting from the costumes to the dreadful, dark world of Gotham, feels right out of the early 1900s, which is truly peak noir. The first season pretty much reimagines the Batman lore while focusing on the detective noir aspects of the vigilante. Inspired by the Batman stories from the 40s and 60s, we meet a young Bruce Wayne in a dark, foreboding Gotham City while he is in the initial stage of his crime-fighting career. The first season mostly explores how Batman battles the deep-rooted corruption and rising crime that have taken hold of Gotham City, which includes a corrupt police force determined to expose him and unmask him as a fraud. Amidst all this, the city is pretty much riddled with gang wars, mostly incited by a crime boss named Thorne. Like many previous Batman adaptations, the series embraces the noir-inspired darkness, but often shifts the spotlight away from Batman himself in order to focus on supporting characters such as Barbara Gordon and fresh interpretations of iconic villains like Catwoman and Clayface. In fact, the show does not rely on standalone adventures, and rather tells a serialized story, with each detective case gradually building toward a larger mystery. It also presents a more grounded, realistic take on its characters, while introducing modern and unexpected twists on familiar faces. So with the new season of the series finally making a comeback this summer, here are 7 reasons why we are super excited about Batman Caped Crusader Season 2. Rupert Thorne will continue being a menace. In case you did not know, Rupert Thorne is surely coming back this season as the conflict in Gotham City has started scaling up. According to the synopsis for Season 2, Batman and his allies will apparently work together to dismantle Rupert Thorne's criminal operation, which will of course come at a very high cost. But as the vigilante will try to systematically dismantle Thorne's criminal syndicate, the reigning crime boss will apparently struggle to continue retaining his grip on Gotham's underworld, especially with the rise of new supervillains and an escalating crime war. In other words, we are about to see Gotham's war on crime go full-blown at the mob boss level. In fact, Batman will finally confront the corrupt power broker who was behind Season 1's chaos, and this intense premise promises a season-spanning arc where Batman and his allies will band together against overwhelming odds. This certainly means that the Thorne saga will continue to pay off on a grand scale, while raising the stakes far beyond isolated capers. This payoff could redefine Gotham's status quo and force a lot of character growth, as Bruce Wayne will finally evolve from a lone vigilante to a strategist in a collective fight.
Shall we begin?
We will finally meet a new version of Joker. So the newly released trailer actually shows Joker stepping into the light at the very end to deliver a haunting monologue, where he promises to awaken Batman to what he truly is before capping that tease with a deeply unsettling laugh. Even though the ending of the first season of Batman Caped Crusader had teased us with a brief silhouette of the villain, Joker's most awaited appearance will have a horror-tinged depiction of the Clown Prince, and the glimpse of him in the trailer delivers that to the point. The showrunner James Tucker has also assured of a new take on the character, as it will be very different from the versions portrayed by Jack Nicholson or Mark Hamill, but for people who have been reading the comics for a very long time, it will certainly be quite a treat. This build-up means we will finally see how Caped Crusader reinterprets Batman's arch-nemesis, because it is indeed true that a new Joker could reshape the entire tone of the series' tone, and present Batman with his greatest challenge yet. Having said that, Timm has never disappointed with his take on classic characters, and I am sure this time will also be no different. Riddler is going to rise as Gotham's top gangster. So the trailer for Season 2 makes one factor crystal clear, and that is the fact that Edward Nygma is not playing any games anymore. After being reimagined through a brutal, hard-boiled lens, this version of the Riddler is a sleek, suited mobster rather than a quirky, puzzle-obsessed weirdo. Now, this guy is actively using a media campaign to turn the general public of Gotham against the vigilante by weaponizing their fears so he can easily execute a hostile takeover of Gotham's criminal empire. Instead of leaving silly green question marks on bank vaults, Nygma is playing a calculated, high-stakes political game that has left the entire city completely up in flames. So, Prime Video's announcement and trailer shows the Riddler at the front and center, especially wearing a purple-tinted design and fedora. This classic villain appears to fit perfectly within the show's noir-inspired world, bringing a new layer of mystery and menace to Gotham. So I guess it is safe to expect multi-episode puzzles and mind games, because as a detective series, Caped Crusader is primed to exploit Riddler's intellectual threat. Not just that, the Riddler schemes will probably force Batman to step up his sleuthing skills more than ever, and focus more on his detective side. Now, when we see a traditionally goofy villain retooled as a dark, puzzle-driven antagonist, it really deepens the rogues gallery and underscores the commitment that the series has towards serious and intricate storytelling. The screen time of the season will be dominated by many minor yet classic villains. The second season harmlessly continues the show's trend of reinventing seasoned characters in surprising ways. For starters, we know that the iconic Mad Hatter is now gender-swapped as a woman after the precedent of the Season 1. The trailer and images also revealed the Scarecrow as a major threat, with other villains like Roxy Rocket from Timm's classic cartoons joining the fray. In fact, even existing characters get into a lot of twists, as Barbara Gordon's worldview from Season 1 suggests that she may evolve. These reinterpretations matter because they keep the series unpredictable. I just know that us fans of Batman mythology will delight in fresh takes, and in a way, Season 2's villain lineup is both broader and unconventional, thus promising clashes and mysteries unlike any Batman cartoon before. In fact, the trailer also shows us a parade of classic and obscure DC comic characters like the gender-swapped Mad Hatter hosting a bizarre television program called Hattie, a noir-styled Poison Ivy who seems to be in a twisted relationship with Riddler, Harley Quinn, Scarecrow, and of course the hulking Solomon Grundy. As you know, almost all Batman projects feature at least one of these baddies after their frequent escape from Arkham Asylum. Batman will have new and recurring allies. So not all changes are restricted to villains, as Season 2 brings exciting new heroes and familiar faces too. For starters, we see Carrie Kelly, who was introduced in comics as a female Robin. She appears again while wearing a classic gray ghost costume as an Easter egg for us longtime fans. We also have Roxy Rocket joining us, who is a cult favorite Batman character created by Timm and Paul Dini for the New Adventures. All these new additional characters deepen the world building of Gotham World, because Carrie's gray ghost outfit ties back to Batman, the animated series lore, while Roxy's inclusion is especially exciting for longtime Batman animation fans. Meanwhile, other key allies from Season 1 like Barbara Gordon, Renee Montoya, Lucius Fox, and Commissioner Gordon reprise their roles, thus ensuring that the focus on Batman's support network remains strong. Season 2 will probably help Bruce Wayne understand that he is not alone. So I am really excited to see how these characters grow and alter the dynamics while not taking away anything from Batman's journey. Season 2 will have deeply serialized detective storytelling. Unlike many superhero cartoons, Caped Crusader has deliberately embraced an overarching, serialized form of storytelling, which means that Season 2 will have a sense of continuity and suspense, as every given episode would feel like a chapter in a novel. thus making the viewing experience richer and more engaging than a series of standalone. If you remember, Season 1 was structured as interconnected detective cases, so Season 2 appears to build on the same format. Even though Prime Video's press release calls the series a thrilling detective show, the interviews stress that each episode's mystery continues to contribute to the larger conflict. Of course, the rumors are that new villains like Riddler and Mad Hatter will spend an entire episode solving riddles or unraveling schemes that could feed into the war on Thorne. But all you need to know now is that this kind of structure matters because it rewards long-term viewers with intricate clues and payoffs. However, all we can expect is that solo cases will keep escalating until they merge into the finale's grand war climax. Roxy Rocket and a few other minor characters will also be tweaked for the show. So, with Roxy Rocket, Bruce Timm is also revisiting one of his own original creations, as Roxy Rocket, who first appeared in the new Batman Adventures as a thrill-seeking daredevil in her signature bomber jacket, has been completely reinvented. This time she is sporting a sleek suit of yellow armor that gives her strong Iron Man vibes. Not just that, other classic villains are getting equally unexpected arcs, as Mad Hatter, who is traditionally portrayed as a creepy man who controls people through mind-altering hats, has been transformed into an older woman who spends her time criticizing Batman on her own talk show. The trailer also hints at several deeper cuts from Batman's rogues gallery. Man-Bat looks much closer to his comic book appearance, though Batman, the animated series, already gave the character one of his most memorable stories in its very first episode, On Leather Wings. After introducing Firebug in Season 1, Caped Crusader now appears to be bringing in Firefly instead, although it is still unclear whether he'll be equipped with his iconic jetpack. But perhaps the biggest surprise among all this was a mysterious mask-wearing figure dressed in a red cloak and leading a group of followers. All signs point to this being the Mad Monk, albeit with a redesign that makes him resemble Batman himself. The Mad Monk has a fascinating place in Batman history, having debuted in Detective Comics issue 31 in 1939, as only the second supervillain Batman ever faced. It's unlikely that these characters will dominate the season, especially with the Riddler and Poison Ivy locked in a battle to gain control of Gotham, while the Joker lurks in the background, ready to make his move. Still, even if these villains only appear briefly, Caped Crusader has a chance to make them more memorable than many of their comic book appearances ever did. Well, that brings us to the very end of this video. Now tell me, are you guys equally elated for Batman Caped Crusader Season 2 to release? What are your thoughts and opinions on the trailer? Let me know in the comment box below.